Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this Brescia House live broadcast. Welcome to our TeachMeet. Today's topic, we're going to start with OneNote and the OneNote notebook. This is specifically for the class notebook. After this, we will have a second segment, which will be on Microsoft Forms. So let's get started. Using OneNote is really a game changer in the classroom. If you're going to use OneNote, you may be using it on a variety of devices and in a variety of platforms. The exciting thing is, it doesn't matter what device or platform you're using, the OneNote works very simply, and all children have found it very easy to use. I've used it from grade 0. Right, I'm going to share my desktop with you, and you are going to be able to see exactly what I do. So, right now on my desktop, I have the OneNote for Windows 10 application open, and this is what it looks like when you are open in the application on your computer. If you have a look here, if I click, you can see I have many notebooks. So there are many, many notebooks in here. If I go to the online platform, you can sign into the application in OneNote, and it will look slightly different. But in the end, essentially, it is exactly the same. And then if I click over here, you will see that I'm now in my Microsoft Office online account. And if I go down and select OneNote, I get a very similar kind of look. OneNote is the purple icon, so it's very easy to remember. So here is the OneNote that I had open in the application. And when I open it, you will see that teacher. And I now have 2 people in my team. Once I'm in my team, I then get this window, and I need to set up the class notebook. So when I set up the class notebook, I click on the icons. A blank notebook means you are starting from scratch. If you have an existing notebook from the previous year or from another place that you've used it, you can create it from an existing notebook, and then you select which content is added. So we're going to select the blank notebook for now. Now, when we get to this screen, you get this screen in all forms of OneNote, and this basically explains what the different sections are. So we have a collaboration space, a content library, a teacher-only section, and a student notebook. I will come back to this in more detail in a minute. We go next. Now on this page, this allows us to set up the sections for our students' private notebook. In OneNote, the teacher can see everybody. The children can only see their own notebook when they are working there. So you may want to change these headings. handout, maybe you want to call it worksheets, or you want to call it notes. So let's call this one worksheets. Let's have this one as class notes. Homework, if you need homework, if you're not going to use it, take it out. We'd rather have fewer sections so that the children don't get confused. And we create. This really only takes a few seconds. Now, one of the things I have found in teams is when you get a new learner coming into your team, it often takes several days for the notebook to pull through. If you go to the team, even though you have created it and there are notes in it, and you click on Create Notebook, it updates the new child very quickly. And so you can see here, the class notebook is being created. Right, once it appears, we now have the same welcome page that we would have in other places. If you click on the books, it shows navigation. If you're on an iPad, you get a little arrow, and you would click on the arrow to get the same thing. Now, a little quick tip for people who are working in teams, in order to give the learner more space, we have this double arrow at the top. If you click on this double arrow, it expands the notebook and takes away the left-hand side of the teams, which makes it much easier for them to see what they are doing. Once you're in the class notebook, you also have the option of opening in the browser or opening in the desktop app. Now, if you have children who are watching the amount of internet they're using, it is often better for them to use the desktop application, work offline, and then once they are finished, they can then upload what they have changed in their notebook. So this would be a cost saving for them. If you open in the browser, obviously you're working online, but pretty much the same thing as working in this space. So we are in the class notebook. I'm going to now switch across to OneNote, and if I go here, you will see that there are all my notebooks, and if I wanted to look at it, you can see already down at the bottom here, my new team that I've just created, my new notebook, is already there. So I am now going to switch to the online lessons for the notebook and go through the various places that we see. So the welcome page, I have actually deleted the picture that's there. It would be much nicer for your children to have a fun picture here, so we can go to Insert and go and fetch a picture. I've already uploaded a picture, and we'll just quickly go and fetch that, just to make the notebook more child-friendly. Right, and you can see there's my little welcome picture. As a teacher, I could write a welcome message. And I've added it to the front page. This is the welcome page. There are also a whole lot of frequently asked questions, and these are very good resources that can be left there for the child or for the teacher to use. The next space down we have is the collaboration space. Now, to collaborate means to work together. And so when we work in the collaboration space, this is a space that all the children and the teacher can work at the same time. A word of warning. Some children don't understand that if they are writing, another child may be writing on top of them, and they might be deleting somebody else's work. So a method of taking turns might just be the way we need to go. The next one down here is the content library. Think of the content library as the spare worksheets in your classroom. Whatever you put in the content library is read-only for the child, but it is teachers can edit. So this is a very good place to put a copy of everything that is in your notebook. There's no more lost worksheets. If a child deletes it by mistake, they simply can come here, copy it into their notebook, and they have another copy of that same note. So there's no more printing, no more extra things needed. We simply go and collect it. This third block over here is called Teacher Only. This is what I would call your master file. This is where you put things for the children. This is where you put notes for yourself. You can share content. If you have another teacher working with you, you can use it as a place where you're putting things in. So I've got one here that I've populated with a few things. And you can see here I could put in an attendance register. So I could mark off the children who are in the class so that I know who is there, or I can make little notes about children if I notice things. The children cannot see this part here. And I have several other sections, pages underneath, where you could put in your ideas. So here I've got some lesson ideas that I've just popped into the space. You could also put in some templates and things for the children. Then at the bottom here, you will see that I have two names. These are two Brescia staff members who are masquerading as children for today. So we have Amy, and you will see when I created it, I have a class notes, a quizzes, and a worksheet section. If I open Wendy's, she has exactly the same. If I open the content library in the collaboration space, they only have one page underneath. And if I open mine, I have different things. These different sections that I've created for the children are quite important when you want to come to assessing, to marking, to seeing what the children are doing. So in our notebook, we now have collaboration space, the content library, the teacher, and the children. The children will not see the teacher-only section, and they will only see their own name underneath over here. So I'm just quickly going to go across to this presentation here. And here I've just taken a few screenshots of the various different applications. So if we are working in the OneNote application and we wanted to create a notebook, this is how we find the place to make a new notebook. If you're online, this is what it will look like. And if you're on an iPad, it's on the left-hand side at the bottom of the first column. You would click New Notebook, and then you would get a toolbar that looks very similar to this one at the top. Right, so let's start having a look. I've got a question here. Is it possible to copy across notebook from a standard notebook to a classroom notebook? You would have to create the class notebook, and then you could copy various sections from the standard notebook across into your class notebook. So your standard notebook could be also like a master file, and then you could share documents across, or notes, or whatever that you needed to. But you would need to create a classroom notebook. You cannot change a standard notebook into a class notebook. Right, let's carry on. So if we are in our OneNote application, I think the Home tab is pretty self-explanatory. You've just got your various ways of adding information, typing, writing, clipboard, things like that. If we go to the page and we want to work, we can simply start typing on the page. As you will see, I have a blank document here. How are you feeling today? And I can put in an instruction. Please draw. The wonderful thing about OneNote is the page expands as you go, so you can make it bigger and smaller. Right, so we have a document there. I have other documents here, magazine cover, various things. I'm going to go now to Insert, and in the Teacher-Only section, I'm going to add a blank page. Now you will see a page when you add it comes up as untitled. As soon as you give a page a name, it will have a title. Now, one of the hints I have for people working with younger learners who find it harder to read is to use an emoji at the beginning of whatever you're putting in, so that it is easy for the child to identify the page, because you may just need them to go and draw in something or take a photograph of something, and if you give them a little symbol, it's easier for them. So we go here, and these will be examples. I can click on the page. Now, obviously, I can zoom in and out, make it bigger and smaller as I work. So the first thing we may want to insert is a table, and you will see if I insert a table, I can draw my table. When a table comes in, our usual table toolbar from Windows pops up, and then we can do all the things that we would need to do in a table: shading, adding borders, etc. You can add columns, delete columns. So it's very similar to when you would use it in, say, Word or even PowerPoint. Right, so there's my little table, and when I'm finished, I can then go to the next thing. I'm now going to insert. I now want to insert a file. So when we insert a file, we can then go to our resources and choose what we want to add. So for example, here, I'm going to add an attachment, and you will see there the attachment has now come in, and it's quite small. And you can see that this is now being added into my notebook. I am going to show you how to create sections. It is a question that has been asked. Once it has been created, you can add sections to the notebook, and you can add them as you go. So if you're, let's say, for example, doing mathematics, and you do a new section, you could add a new section to the notebook for data handling or for measurement or whatever. So you can add those as you go. You can also create the sections and lock them beforehand and only unlock them when you need to share them. Right, so this is just putting things on a blank page. Okay, I'm going to just quickly delete this table. Right, I'm back on my page. I can go to insert. I'm going to insert a printout now. Now, a printout can be added either by going and choosing the document. So I'm going to go and choose this document, and I can add it. It makes it into a PDF, and you can see here is an example of some work that a child has done. You can also, if you are in an application and you go to print, so for example, if you're in PowerPoint and you go File, Print, instead of selecting a printer, you print to OneNote, you will be able to add it to the notebook via that print function. So instead of uploading it from the notebook, you could add it from whatever application you are in. Right. Another thing that we would want to add is pictures. You saw a minute ago I had the picture on the desktop. Let's say we want to add this picture, and you simply need to download the picture so that the pictures are available. Adding an online video, I would be very careful when choosing to add an online video. Need to check that the video doesn't have any inappropriate information on it. I'm far more in favor of downloading a video that I have my own copy and uploading it from my computer, because I have far more control of what is in there. So I have downloaded a video which we could then insert. But if you were using an online video, you would go and add the URL in here, and you would add it to your document. The nice thing about this space is you can add all different things on the same page, which keeps it very interesting. If you wanted to have a particular link for people to use, I'm just going. So, for example, I have a little bit of information that I would want to share with the children. I could then go to the URL and copy it, go back into my notebook. I can add a link, paste the link in and insert it, and then the children would get the link on their page. So this way I could make sure that they are going to safe sites when, for example, I expect them to go and find information, etc. To add an audio, we simply click on here. Now, this is very useful because we can give the children feedback that they can listen to. So again, for younger learners, or if you want to give quite a in-depth feedback to the child, you could add an audio. We have another question. Okay, so for an audio here, you would click on the audio button and you would record the audio and you would get a little audio added to your page. We're not going to do that right now as it will affect my audio speaking to you that is going in the live broadcast. We also have this wonderful new addition here called Insert Meeting Details. So if you had a meeting and you needed to meet with children, I'm thinking of older children, maybe where you're having one-on-one feedbacks, you could add meeting details to the page for them specifically. So what I'm going to do now is a maths equation. Now, I am an IT teacher, I'm not a matric maths teacher. So I'm going to go to the draw function and I'm going to use my pen and I'm just quickly going to write a little maths sum. So I have my maths sum, and if I go to maths here, I can say that I want it to now turn my handwriting into the maths equation. So I select this tool here, and then I click on maths, and now I'm saying, well, you're not reading what I'm writing, so I can select an action, I can fix it, I can circle what I need changed. It's my handwriting that it doesn't really like, but I think you get the idea where you could ink it to maths, and there you can see it has actually changed it into an equation. Obviously, a little bit of practice from my side would make this easier. However, it's really useful for people who teach maths. Right. Then this last one on the end here is stickers. Now, stickers are lovely because now you can give the children stickers when they do fantastic work. So if we go down a little bit further here, you can see that there are lovely little examples of, let's say, good job. And you can say good job, and you can take it out and say Wendy. And then the child gets a personalized sticker which gets added onto their work when you are marking it. So that's a really super feature to use. Right, let's go on to the next, the last couple of options. We have Researcher here. Now, Researcher takes you straight into the internet. So if the children had to research something, and let's just put in Wales here, they can go straight into the internet, and you could take information from there and add it onto the page. So this is also very useful, and you can also decide whether they must go to websites, etc. You do not have to pay for a class notebook. This is a question that's been asked. It's part of the A1 license. So it is something that you can use with the A1 license. Right, and then the very last option here is forms, and I'm sure you've all heard of forms, and Hayley will be speaking about forms in a minute. But what's really nice here is if you wanted to pop a form onto a page in the notebook, you can simply go to Forms, you sign into your account, and choose a form that you had pre-created. So, for example, I could insert this one, which I have done before, and insert it. I could also create a new form going over here. Right, I'm going to go now. The drawing tools, I think, are pretty self-explanatory here. The ruler is quite a nice feature. You could give children pictures that they have to measure. And then let's go to View. So when we have different pages, we have different options. And these are also very nice. You can add a window. The immersive reader is really nice. I need to go to a page. Let's go to the collaboration space. And I'm going to click on immersive reader. And you will see that it now goes into the immersive reader and it will read the instructions for whoever is on the page. So this is a really nice feature as well, because then whatever instructions you had written could be read out. Obviously zoom in and zoom out, page width, so that it's easier to see the information that is there. The next one is really nice, and this is the color of the page. For children that have sight problems, it's really a good idea to give them a pale green page. It makes it easier for them to read. I know that the foundation phase teachers will love these lines here, because then you can rule lines and then your children can write within the lines. And even you get your grids, which are really nice for doing maths. They can practice their writing their numbers in these. So those are very useful. And you can see you can also preset it so that it always comes up and looks like a folio page. Translate, we try not to use too often with our children, because then we find the translations aren't always what we want. But if you wish to use it for second or third languages, are really great tools. Now I'm going to go to the class notebook, which is why most of you are here this afternoon. And I'm going to go to the teacher page where I have my IT information. And let's go and distribute a page to the learners. So here I have a how do you feel today? I'm going to distribute this page and click on distribute. You'll see it comes up and it now asks me, who do I want to give it to? I know that it's in class notes, and I'm going to distribute it, and Amy and Wendy are now going to receive this page. So you can see it's now going. It doesn't take very long, and the page will appear in their notebooks in a very short period of time. And in order to show you how quickly this works, we're actually going to go to the notebooks once they've received it. You can see it's done. I'm going to open Amy's class notebook, and she is going to get her work. Here you can see it has already popped up. And now Amy and Wendy are actually going to add some information so that you can see how quickly this system can actually work. They're going to add their information, and then we will have a look at what they have written. While they are doing that, the question earlier about distributing a new section, if you click here, you have two options. So distributing a new section would be one subsection. So for example, I've got ICT ideas and templates. I could call the new one, let's call it videos. And I can distribute it, and it will go to all of the notebooks. Now, it is really important that you pre-think how you want everything to look in the notebook. It does not make sense to have too many sections, too many subsections, because the young children and even the older learners often get really, really confused. My suggestion is look at your subject. For a subject like English, you might have comprehension, language, reading, and that sort of thing, and then have subsections within that to make it easier for them to find what they're looking for. The second one, distribute a new section group. What this allows you to do is, first of all, create that section, and then it creates a further part. Now here you can see Amy's work has already popped up. She's feeling happy right now. And this new section group, let's say we're going to call this photos. Photos and drawings, and then the new subsection could be photos, and the other one could be drawings. And so you could carry on and distribute it. Right, you can see it's been edited as we speak. We'll go to Wendy's one, and you'll see hers is still, there we go, and she's happy. So you can see it's quite a quick process now to go and add those new sections, and we just need to give it a few minutes to set up. We've also got this function, copy to content library. So when I, as the teacher, now want to give them a note, I've shared the note to them, I've shared this examples here, I could then copy it to the content library that if a child loses it, they would be able to get their work back again. So here you can see the various parts that have been added. You can add sections at the bottom here as well, and you can add pages. Right, you can see it's easy to open and close the various parts of the notebook, and you can also add pages and sections as you click on it. So for example, here's my content library. I can add a section here, I give it a name, and it would then be in all of the places. So now we're going to go to the next part, which is the reviewing of the student work. And you can do a cross-notebook review. So if you have 4 classes of English, you could review them all at the same time. We're going to review our student work. We now have to then say, we have to go and look for a notebook. So let's click on okay, you can see here, while we are talking, these additional sections have now popped up into her notebook. So you can see she's got the various parts. If we go to class notebook, we can say next, all the children who have done work will pop up. I'm now going to say I want to check this page, and only this page will come up. I can then choose the pupils. I can also select them by last name first, because often we know the children by surname or by first name. You can actually reverse this, and whatever is easiest for you, you then click on the person and you can then review the work. I'm going to take my pen, and using the draw function, I can go and give her a happy smiley face, give it a signature, and I can also go to insert a sticker, and she is now having her work reviewed. I can lock the page after I have reviewed it, so she is unable to change her work, what she has already done, and this is quite useful, especially if you're marking work that they may want to go and re-edit after you have given them marks. You can also unlock it, obviously, afterwards. So here you can see it is a very, very simple thing to do, to create, to add various parts to our notebook. I just want to double check. Another hint that I can give you is if you're using the content library and you add a page in the content library, this can be used as a whiteboard while you are working in class. So it could be a discussion. You could get the children to come to the board and write things down, but it could also be you doing some maths equations, whatever. You can then use this to as your whiteboard, and then after the class, you can then distribute it to the children so that they would have it all there for them. So that is all I'm going to give you for today. I have made a slideshow with many, many slides that beginner people will be allowed to get. We will share the PowerPoint with you, and this really goes through everything from the very beginning. One of the things we do need to remember if you are working in OneNote is to sync the notebook. If you right-click on the name of the notebook, you need to click Sync. This will then obviously upload it to the internet. One last question here is, how do you share work to a specific individual? So if we go here, we go to the class notebook, I'm on this discussion page. I can send it to a single individual. I can do it across a notebook as well, which means that if you teach 4 classes, you could share it to the 4 classes as well. This delete page is a very important last tip. If you share something by mistake, delete it immediately. You go to the distribute, click on delete, and it will remove it. But for individual distribution, the people's names will come up. You simply click on them and share to that particular individual. And I think the hardy door outside is telling me it's time I stopped talking. So I hope you've all learnt a lot. If you have questions, we welcome them. If people need to connect with us, we're happy to do sessions helping people. So I hope you've learnt a lot, and I'm now going to hand over to Hayley.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Hayley, and I'm going to be guiding you through the basic bare bones of the Microsoft Forms app. This is really an app that was utilized a lot last year for the grade 4 team, and I'm speaking on behalf of my teaching staff. It's become such an asset to our online schooling, so I hope that you can learn a lot today from going through the basics with me. I've divided my presentation into two main parts. The first part would be the use of forms in the classroom and advanced features of forms. So I'm going to be mainly talking to you about setting up a form for assessment, where you have content-heavy subjects such as natural science, social science, history, and then using it for comprehensions as well as spelling quizzes, mainly in your English language and other languages. Okay, so when you get into the Forms program, I'm going to switch over to my Forms program. You get an option to create either a new quiz or a new form. We mainly use quizzes when we are assessing the children, and as you can see that we have created a lot of quizzes over the years. So I'm going to go into one of the quizzes that we have created. Basically, there are many different ways that you can create quizzes. So you can use multiple choice, and you can use longer answers. You can insert tables, as well as inserting images where the children will be able to interact with multimedia. Sorry. Can you hear me now? So if I go into one of my forms that I have started to create, I'm now starting to look at farming in South Africa. I want to create a brand new form, so I'm going to choose a theme for my form. I can therefore go straight into customize my theme, and I can search the internet for an image of farming, which is the theme of the form. And I can choose any of the images that Bing have selected here. These will not give you any form of copyright issues, and you can choose a form that is relative to the task at hand. Once you have chosen your theme and you have clicked on your background, you can then change your heading and you can start to add your questions. When you start to add your questions, you'll be given an array of choice. So you can either choose a multiple choice, a longer text answer, or there's various others that I think Mrs. Soutoff is definitely going to go into next time. So if I talk about farming in South Africa and I want the students to interact with a map, I can go and search for a map on Bing. Let me make that more specific. And I can insert the image straight away. Based on the image that I have used, you can ask a question, and there is an option to make it larger. Oh no, that's copying the question. Okay, let me go again. Okay, so there will be an option to make the image larger for the children to interact with the image. I can then go and ask the question based on the map, on the given map. What type of farming Okay, I've been able to insert a video through my Microsoft Stream, creating a link and attaching it to my form. I will then be able to ask questions based on the given video. Going back, now there are two main streams in Microsoft Forms. It's either to create a form, which is more of a survey for gathering information on a large, to create a quiz, which I've already touched on. When you create a quiz, we want to try and marry as many of the different levels of questioning as possible. So we are incorporating all of the learning styles into one. You can do this through multiple choice, asking true or false questions, giving longer answers, and getting the students to interact with diagrams and charts, as well as multimedia resources, such as videos. If I go into my forms, I can see that I have created a form on this point, Charlotte's Web, where I've asked questions based on a comprehension. I would then like to share it with my fellow teachers. What you need to do is to share the form with your fellow teachers before you share it with the children, so that they will be able to collaborate in real time, where if they have an issue with a question, they can correct it or help you add to your ideas. Once they are happy with that, so I'm going to share my collaborator form. All you need to do is copy this link and send it to them via email. Now, I've taken an email out, and this is a form that's been shared with me, collaborators link. It should then open on Microsoft Forms. And this is a form about reading data for maths. So here we have case in point, a beautiful chart that the children are able to use and answer the questions based on the different images given. Once I've got the collaborators link and I'm happy with how the questions have been asked and I'm happy with everything being up to standard, I can then go and share my link with my children in my class. So I can copy the link and then I can send it to the children either through Teams in the assignment section. So create an assignment. You choose your class. And you can add the resource. So you can add the link of the form in the assignment. I can then call it bar graph activity and assign it to my class. There are other various manners that you can do this. You can also share it to the team as is, and you can email it to your students. Okay, when it comes down to comprehensions, there are quite a few ways to break down the text in Microsoft Forms. So for example, I've gone through one of my quizzes and I've split the text into two separate sections. So I call it section 1, where the children will be able to read the section of the quiz, of the text, and then they'll be able to answer the questions, and then section 2. Okay. This is it. Okay. The children will then be able to interact with the text and answer either the multiple choice questions or the longer answers. When it comes to creating the memo, you'll see that you'll be able to add options. You'll be able to choose the correct option as to what the correct answer is. You've got to make sure that you write the correct point allocation at the bottom and say that the question is required for a mark. With the longer text, these will usually be reviewed by the teacher. So you don't need a proper memo as is on these, but you can still say that it's required and it's a long answer. When it comes to spelling, you can do this in two ways that I feel comfortable with at present. The first way would be to ask the questions in a multiple choice fashion. So you can choose options and you ask which is the correct spelling of each word. Remember to write the point allocation at the bottom and to say whether or not it's required for a mark. So you can carry this on for all 10 spelling words. If you've got dictation, you are able to write in the correct answer with the correct grammar and spelling. The girls need to be able to answer this in full sentence with the correct grammar in order to get the full mark. Another way of doing this is to write down the question as spelling word 8 and allow the children to write in the answer while you say the word out verbally. So, in order to share your form for grade collaboration, you need to manage the permission of the form before you share it. You need to make sure that everyone in your organization will be able to access the form. You can do this by checking your share options. So you need to make sure that you click on the correct option, so only people in my organization can respond, and therefore you'll be able to share it with whomever and whichever group you would like, and that specific group will be able to answer. If a form is shared with you, you'll be able to duplicate that form to make it specifically for your class, therefore avoiding having 68 answers across a grade. This is essential when you are teaching in a team. So if this spelling test has been shared with me, I can then, or let's go to shared with me, a bar chart activity has been shared with me, I can then copy it and make sure that, there we go, I save it as my class. Okay, it's not showing this now. I can change the name. Once it's shared properly, I can save the name to my class's name, and I'll be able to share it with my class from there. Okay, any advanced features? So with a group form, you want to gather information for an entire grade or a school. This will be able to help you gather information as an office admin staff. So you can send out surveys and gather that information rapidly in real time. Okay, there we go, all my shared ones. Okay, so this TeachMeet feedback form, for example, has been shared with me, and this is the TeachMeet feedback form that you will be receiving today. This is an example of how a survey would be conducted across the school level and will help us gain a better understanding of the information that we're trying to gather. In the forms, you can have branching, which Mrs. Southoff will cover in more depth next week or the week after. And you'll be able to answer. If you say yes, your answers will then change per that form. And if you click on no, you'll be then be given another set of answers, questions. So that is the form that you're going to receive just now. Okay, any other advanced features? Like I said, please never directly use a YouTube link, and always download your videos beforehand to avoid any kind of inappropriate adverts, and always upload from a trusted source. And that's it from me today. I hope that you learned a lot. For our Brescia House School TeachMeet. Okay, are there any questions? Thank you so much, and have a lovely evening. This will be shared, this presentation will be shared, where you'll be able to find it, and you can go back and re-watch and find the PowerPoint presentations to watch at your leisure. Thank you for joining us. Please fill out the form. Don't forget to fill out the form.